There are no visitors to his grave and nobody knows where he was buried. He ruled with an iron hand from 1933 to 1945. Hi, my name is Julian, and this is my book report about Adolf Hitler by James Cross Giblin, an American children's author and editor. Hitler arose, claiming that he could solve Germany's problems. His invasion of Poland in 1939 set off the Second World War as well as the death of 50 million people. He even launched a campaign to exterminate entire groups of people he deemed inferior: the Gypsies, homosexuals, and the Jews. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, and has 5 siblings. His father retired in 1895 after 40 years of loyal service to Austro-Hungarian Empire. Hitler was beaten as a young child and stopped his education at 16 when he wanted to become an artist, as well as when his mother got breast cancer. His mother, again with breast cancer, wanted him to live in Vienna, and later got rejected by an art school. He became homeless when he ran out of his dead mother's estate, and then later he got his father's estate at the age of 24 and moved to Germany. He then joined the army and served in World War I. He got medals for his bravery. After getting hurt in battle by a grenade, he was sent back to Germany, where he went into politics. He found out he had a speaking gift when he had a 5-day course of virtues of nationalism, the dangers of communism to returning prisoners of war. He later started a party called the German Worker Party. He demanded that Jewish people be treated like aliens, that they be denied the right to hold any public office. Hitler arranged rallies, and Ernest Röhm's troops helped keep order to Hitler's rallies. Hitler wanted to smash the treaty that Germany signed after the war, and Hitler organized a march in his city and got arrested for not stopping when the police told him to. He spent 5 years in prison for treason. The party then went underground after being banned by authorities. While in prison, he wrote a book about the superiority of German-speaking people, the dangers of communism, and the evils of Jews. Hitler started a youth movement after getting out of prison in 1926. And in 1931, a meeting was arranged between Hitler and Germany's president, Paul von Hindenburg. The president was not impressed with Hitler, but Hitler said that Germany needed a strong leader, a dictator, someone that would be ruthless to Germany's enemies. Hitler wanted to become chancellor. When Paul von Hindenburg was out of office, Hitler did not run for president because he knew that chancellor is the position with the most power. He devised a campaign, which he used airplanes that showed the Nazi symbol on towns and villages. He devised a campaign in which airplanes that showed Nazi symbols were going through towns and villages. He was then made chancellor with much hard work in 1933. On February 1933, the communists launched a campaign calling for resistance to the Nazis. One communist even set the red stage ablaze. This had men join together with the police to hold hundreds of communists to prison. Hitler then got an enabling act after Germany's industrialists financed the Nazis' campaign. Then, on April 7th, a government decree removed all Jews from civil service posts in Germany, and Hitler became commander of the nation's armed forces. In 1935, Hitler persuaded the British to sign a pact allowing Germany to enlarge both its surface and navy and submarine fleet. He then signed a treaty with Italy that states if there is a war, Germany and Italy will support each other. Then, on November 10, 1938, crowds of Germans roamed the streets, looting and burning many Jewish stores. Over 700 stores were attacked and wrecked. On August 31st, 1939, SS commandos attacked a German forest station. Then, at 4:45 in the morning, German artillery units fired volley after volley across the Poland border. The invasion of Poland began. At noon, the same day, loudspeakers informed strollers that England had declared war on Germany. Poland surrendered to the Germans on September 7, 16 days after it has begun. Poles were forced to give up their homes, farms, to German settlers. The Jews in Poland were moved to large cities such as Warsaw. These cities were crowded and were the ghettos. They had to wear one clothing and identification mark. They made most of the concentration camps in Poland. The British then sent a fleet of 20,000 troops to help slave off the German invasion of Poland. Franklin D. Roosevelt promoted the Lend-Lease Act. This bill was aid in form of ships, airplanes, and food to countries like Great Britain to help defend the United States. Hitler then thought if he defeated the Soviet Union, the United States might think twice about getting into the war. Another Germany attack in 1941 had Yugoslavia surrender, and Greece also fell 6 days later. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, Japan joined Germany. Hitler revived radically pure Europe, where all Jews had been removed to somewhere in the east. Without any trial, the communists and Jews prisoners dug a ditch and got shot. At the Wannsee Conference, Heydrich laid out a plan to resettle the Jews on trains and go to concentration camps. About 10% of the Jews would be working if they were men, women, they were healthy. 90% of the children and old people will go into the showers, which were gas chambers. Then, in March 1942, the first Jews from Polish city were transported to a camp. This began the Holocaust. On November 22nd, the Soviet army killing 220,000 of Germany's finest soldiers. Then, on January 3rd, 1945, the Allies launched an offensive of their own to cut the bulge of Germany's occupied territory in two. Hitler killed himself in his bunker with his wife after Russians and Soviet army got to Berlin, where he was hiding. Hitler was then burned and shot after he died. After his death, the war ended on May 7th, 1945, when Germany surrendered after many air raids and Hitler's death. Many generals swallowed poison after Hitler's death and heard the sentence other generals were getting. Today, there are still people following Hitler's ways, such as clubs and organizations, even people not associated with clubs and organizations. This is Julian, and this was my book report about Adolf Hitler.